The following program is sponsored. The opinions and statements made by the hosts and guests do not necessarily reflect the views of WBOB or its parent company, the Chesapeake Portsmouth Broadcasting Corporation.
WBOB 94.1 The Answer is proud to present Toula's Tips for Caregivers. Help is on the air with Toula Wooten, your source to go for resources and information to help you in this rewarding but sometimes challenging role. Toula's Tips for Caregivers is brought to you by Agewell Institute at Baptist Health, by Elmcroft Assisted Living and Memory Care, by Apex Home Health Care, by the AARP, and by Bartram Lakes Brooks Assisted Living. To participate in today's show, call 904-222-TALK. That's 904-222-8255. Now here's Toula.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to my show again. I am so happy to be here with you this Saturday morning in Northeast Florida. For anybody who might be listening for the first time, my name is Toula Wooten, and I've been doing this radio show live every Saturday for about 7 years now. My goal is to be here to help caregivers, particularly caregivers who are caring for someone who is an elder. I really prefer that word to the word senior, because I think the word elder gives them more of the respect that they so deserve. So if you're a caregiver, one of the many, actually 66 million caregivers here in the United States, we are here to help you this morning, as we are every morning. I've focused on many, many things through the years, from ways to learn to lift your loved one without injuring yourself, to medication management, to stress relief, to resources that are available in the community. Hopefully I can offer inspiration and encouragement to you in all of my shows. That's always one of my goals. And today's show is going to be no different than that. I'm really excited about having my guests here with me today. I'm going to be learning something new that I've been interested in for some time and just haven't had the time really to learn. So I'm excited about having my guests today. My two guests are colleagues in the healthcare community that I run into from time to time, and they were at the Caregiver Expo that we just had a couple of weeks ago downtown at the Hyatt as exhibitors, and I'd love for them to share any of their experiences that came up from that. But my guests are Belinda Casper and Curt Coenen. Belinda is a 500-hour therapeutic yoga instructor. She's got the higher level of yoga instruction and also works with Young Living essential oils. Welcome, Belinda.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here with me. And I also have Curt Coenen with me, who is a wellness educator and also works with the Young Essential Living Oils. Welcome, Curt.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's a pleasure to work with the people at the Caregivers Expo a couple weeks ago. It was a fantastic event, second time we did it, so looking forward to more.
Well, good. I'm really happy to hear that. I hope it was beneficial to you guys. I know it was to the caregivers who approached your display table.
Mm-hmm. Yes. We had a lot of people, interest and everything. So of course, diffusing the oils kind of draws them in with the scent. So, then they start asking questions, and, we can go down different paths depending on their situations.
And their needs. And so, that's why we're here today. We're going to talk a little bit at the first segment of this show today about stress. We all know that caregivers experience a variety of stresses. There's the physical stress of just tending to and taking care of your loved one day in and day out. Even the simple things like getting their meals and bringing it to the more complex, arduous things like lifting them out of beds, helping them to wheelchairs, helping them to the bathroom. The physical care, changing sheets, changing them, can be debilitating, actually, at times. Then there's the emotional stress that comes with being a caregiver as you watch your loved one decline, your frail older loved one, and there's really nothing you can do to stop that. So that takes a huge toll on caregivers. And then, there's a spiritual stress. For many people, it kind of shakes their foundation a little bit. And people have to sometimes regroup after they lose their loved one. And then the financial stress can be humongous. I talk about that a lot on my show, particularly for female caregivers, because they're typically the ones who will quit their jobs earlier and incur that financial impact. But today, I want to talk about how your company, Young Essential Oils, and yoga, in particular, the two combined, can help relieve the stresses that caregivers experience. And, maybe, Belinda, we can talk a little bit about, at the top here, what some of those stresses are.
Sure. Some of the activities that happen is it will impact your sleep. It will cause you to reduce your ability to have a deep sleep, and that will have a lot of other repercussions for you physically. It also reduces your immunities, and it causes you to have the ability to attract more viruses, and you find yourself with more colds and those sort of things, and you can't understand why that keeps happening.
Yeah.
So it's important for caregivers to take care of themselves and to take those moments to catch their breath and to find the opportunities to regroup and rebalance themselves. And really, a lot of that is as simple as catching your breath and tuning back into your breath. We find that when we are preparing for something we're overwhelmed by, it could be a physical activity. Sometimes when we are lifting our caregivers or we're doing different things, that we are bracing ourselves. And what do we do when we brace ourselves? We hold our breath.
We hold our breath, sure.
Mm-hmm.
And
so when you hold your breath, you're creating tension in your body. And sometimes that tension is for that moment, and sometimes that tension stays. But in holding our breath, we cause more damage in that. So at those stressful moments, having the opportunity to tune into your breath and have full breath really helps. Is it okay if we go through an opportunity for people to?
I'd like for you to do that. I'm sitting here feeling a little bit of tension and stress in my own body today, so let's talk about that a little bit.
And another thing that in talking about stress, that it normally will elevate your cortisol level as well, which is your fight or flight hormone and everything. And when that is constantly elevated, then you really can't, or you really have a harder time settling down and everything. And we see now post-traumatic stress disorder that is not just soldiers, but it's a variety of different people that have been at a very high stress level for a long period of time.
Yeah, and I know from the reading that I've done that a high cortisol level increases your belly fat. And as a woman, that is the last thing any of us want to hear. Male or female, that's the last thing any of us want to hear.
And not only does that happen, it then messes up your hormones. Yeah. So then you have a hormone imbalance, which affects everything in our body. So one leads to the next, and it's important for us to get back to that basic and find ways to reduce that stress. But yes, all of that is a huge impact on our bodies.
The hormonal imbalance, along with the stress that comes along with it. Give a caregiver some hope here. What is something you can do for that stressed out caregiver?
So one of the first things to do is really to tune into the breath. But before I do that, I want to get people into an alignment in their bodies. And the best thing for people to do is to sit in a chair. So I'll give everybody a chance to get to a chair, and I think it would be wonderful if you have the opportunity to do this while we're talking you through it. You never want to sit back in the chair with your back all the way to the back. You want to sit forward in the chair so that the sit bones, those hard bones that are at the bottom of you, are on forward of the chair, and your feet are firmly on the chair. And if you put your hands on your hip bones and you rock your pelvis back and forth, and you just kind of slowly lower that rock so that it becomes a balance where you're balanced between the forward and the backward. And then if you think about taking your pubic bone to your belly button and aligning that, and from your belly button to your sternum and aligning that, and then you are taking your ears back. You're not lifting your chin. You're just taking your ears back so that your spine is in alignment. So you have full alignment there. And so that helps you to create that balance in your body. And when we come back, we'll talk about how to tune into your breath.
I'm doing this with her as she's talking about this because, as most of you know, I too am a caregiver, and my work is caregiving 60 hours a week. And then I go home and take care of my father, and I tend to my mother as well. So let's do this together, listening audience. And I did forget to mention, I'll mention it again when we come back, that for those of you who are willing to call in, make a comment, ask a question, Belinda has a bottle of Stress Away to give away, one of her oils. That floats my boat, Stress Away. You're listening to Toula's Tips for Caregivers on 94.1. The Answer. We'll be right back. Hi, this is Toula. If the loved one that you're caring for has recently experienced any falls or had medication changes, maybe they've been hospitalized in the last 3 to 6 months, some new medical condition that's been diagnosed by the doctor, or just an overall change in their healthcare status, or difficulty in walking or bathing or eating, it's time to call Apex Home Healthcare Services. They can help you with all of the above. The number is 904-425-4202. That's 904-425-4202.
Have you noticed that mom or dad seems to be slipping a bit? Forgetting appointments, skipping meals, repeating stories? You know they're not ready for a nursing home, yet they could benefit from some kind of help. Brooks Rehabilitation invites you to redefine assisted living at Bartram Lakes. Bartram Lakes Assisted Living offers care and services for adults who value choice and independence, yet benefit from 24/7 support. Our residents embrace life, develop friendships, and live life to its fullest. Our residents' families benefit from having peace of mind, knowing that Brooks Rehabilitation, a trusted name in Jacksonville healthcare for 40 years, is overseeing their loved ones' care. Come and visit Bartram Lakes Assisted Living. To schedule a tour, call 904-528-3515. That's 904-528-3515. Or visit www.bartramlakes.org.
George, I got the job. Thanks, I'm so excited. They hired me on the spot right after the interview. It was that book I bought from Amazon, From the Interview to the Paycheck by Fred Haley. The book really taught me something. It helped me to think about what the boss wants. Then it helped me with answers that show that I can do the job. I can tell they were impressed when I introduced myself. I just followed the simple outline from the Interview to the Paycheck book, and I know I won the job with my first 90 days plan the book recommended. They said no one else had ever been so prepared. You should get the book. It's on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle. It's worth it if you want to get hired. Just search for From the Interview to the Paycheck by Fred Haley. Do it now.
Have you read the new book, Love Stories and Timeless Tips yet? It's by our own Toula Wooten with Toula's Tips for Caregivers. Toula is a caregiver too, as well as an expert on caregiving. You can get it in paperback or on Kindle at Amazon.com. The book is filled with touching stories of caregivers taking care of their loved ones. Each chapter has helpful ideas that we all can use. I love that Toula included a Toula's tip with each story. Her message to caregivers is clear. Take care of yourself so that you can take care of your loved one. This is a beautiful book for all caregivers to read, whether you're a part-time, full-time, or long-distance caregiver, or someone receiving care. You should get the book today. Just go to Amazon.com. Search for Love Stories and Timeless Tips by Toula Wooten.
Hi, this is Toula, and I'm here to talk to you about Baptist's new Age Well Institute. Are you caring for a loved one who's 65 or older? Are you a boomer like myself who's caring for a parent? And perhaps your parent has been experiencing some decline in their overall health. Let me highly recommend to you the Baptist Age Well Institute. They have the only real geriatrician here in Northeast Florida who is able to look at the whole person. Their comprehensive approach includes a nurse, a doctor, a social worker, a pharmacist, a dietitian. They have their own physical therapy there. They can work with folks with memory disorders. My goal is to help you, the caregiver, find an organization that can care for your loved one who's 65 or older. I take my own parents there, and I highly recommend the Age Well Institute at Baptist. Please give them a call at 904-202-4243. Again, that's 904-202-4243. You'll be so glad you did.
And now let's return to Toula's Tips for Caregivers, brought to you in part by Age Well Institute at Baptist Health, by Elmcroft Assisted Living and Memory Care, by Apex Home Healthcare, by the AARP, and by Bartram Lakes Brooks Assisted Living. Once again, here's Toula.
Welcome back, everybody. If you've just joined me, my guests today are Belinda, Casper, and Curt Coenen. We are talking about ways to alleviate stress today. We all know that caregivers are unfortunately susceptible to so many diseases due to the stresses of being a caregiver. They are rampant and they are many. And we talked a little bit at the first segment of the show, some of the bad effects that stress can have on you. And we barely scraped the surface on that. There's so many bad ways stress can impact your overall health. But what we want to do today is really focus on ways to alleviate that for the main part of this show. And in the beginning part of the first segment, Belinda started taking us into some body alignment and deep breathing. I'm going to let you take it from here.
Okay, terrific. So if everybody can get back into their seat so that they're on their sit bones, their feet are solidly on the ground. It's often best to take your shoes off and have your feet touching the ground if you can. But we're not going to spend time there. We're just going to get our body back into that alignment so that our spine is aligned, and put one hand on your abdomen and put one hand on your heart center. And you can either close your eyes or look down to your heart center and just tune into your breath. And one of the things that is best is if you have a nice, long, slow breath in through your nose and a slow breath out through your mouth. The opportunity for breathing slowly through your nose is it allows to have that breath come all the way into your abdomen. So when you are able to have that slow breath, sometimes when we hyperventilate and we breathe fast, we never get the full oxygen into our body, and it doesn't allow us to have what our body needs. And so that also creates that stress. So tune into that slow breath, and sometimes just putting your hand on your abdomen and putting your hand on your chest and allowing you to have that tune into the breath will help you calm down, and it will reduce that stress level that you have. I often tell people, just count 5 exhales. If you allow 5 exhales, and then you say, okay, now I'll face what I'm about to face. It allows you to face that with a calm, clear head. Because the other thing we didn't talk about earlier was when you are stressed, you often can't have that clear level of thinking. So it allows you to catch that breath and then allow that focus that you need. So that's one of the breath techniques that you can have. We also have, as we talked about, the essential oils allow us to be able to tune into that. There are many, Stress Away being one of them, which we're giving away for any of the callers.
So if you didn't hear that, she is giving away a bottle of Stress Away. Obviously, the name implies it's a bottle to help reduce your stress level, and all you need to do is call 904-822-8255. Come on the show and ask a question, make a comment. I'm learning today. I hope you all are too.
Great. And there's also lavender, and one of my favorite is peace and calming. And it just, the word tells you what that does. But part of the oils is they're actually going into your system and allowing you to go directly into the limbic system, which is where we store our emotions and our memory. And so one of the benefits of by just breathing in, we all hear about how wonderful aromatherapy is, but by breathing in the pure therapeutic essential oil, it allows you to bypass the thinking part of your brain and goes directly to the limbic system of your brain. And that is where we hold emotions. It helps with our the balancing of our hormones. It's where we hold memories. And I don't know about you, but I know that there are different parts of my body that have tendencies to be tight. That's often an emotion I put somewhere in my body. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the memory is. But the essential oils help us to remove that as well.
So therefore removing some of the tension and pain that can go with that.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, because the oils will work directly with the limbic system, and through your sense of smell, no other sense is where you release emotions.
And
I've never heard that before.
And you think about it, our sense of smell was one of our first primal senses. And so it really goes back to what we feel. And we can think about it. When you smell something really wonderful and it takes you back to your parents or your grandparents and the smell of cooking or something, it's a great memory. And so if you think about that, that's really what that sense of smell is helping you do. It's helping you have a good memory. What also will help clear some of the other memories that you may not even remember that you have held in your body.
To help relieve some of the tension that comes with them. Finish taking me through this exercise. I know you had a couple of things you want me to do here today.
Yes. So one of the things that is really important for us to think about, and it's something we never think about, is the value of our feet and opening up our feet so that we have, we're feeling our feet. So we often put our feet into shoes and we don't really get that full reconnection with our feet. Our feet help balance us. So part of our orientation in balance, and a lot of things that happen to many of us is that we start to lose balance. So orientation is from your feet, from your eyes, and from your ears. And so we're going to talk a little bit about opening up your feet. And this is another really wonderful thing for you to do to relax yourself. So there are a few things that I brought here that I'm going to share with Toula that are as simple as sitting watching TV and rolling out your feet. And so the three things that I brought to Toula, one is a tennis ball, and I have to tell you, a tennis ball is probably one of the best therapeutic yoga things you can get. And you can even get the tennis balls that the tennis players are throwing away, because the ones that are already beat up and have all the air taken out of them are the best ones that we can have.
Okay, awesome.
So ask all your tennis player friends to give you their tennis balls that they're going to throw away. So the best thing for you to do is to be able to put that on the floor and just roll your feet over it. So you're going from the top of your feet to the heel, and you're just going back and forth. And then if you can go side by side, it's just a wonderful thing for you to do. And you start to tune into your feet, and you're opening it up. The other thing that we as caregivers often have is lower back pain, neck and shoulder pain.
Right.
So if you think about our bodies are one big net, it's a fascia system. And so the fascia back line starts at the bottom of your feet. It goes all the way up your back, and it goes up your neck, and it goes to your forehead. So by opening up our feet, we're actually reducing that fascia line, or we're lengthening that fascia line that is in our lower back and in our neck. And so that helps us start to focus and relieve that tension. It's often funny, people will come to me and say that they have back pain or neck pain, and I start rolling out their feet, and they'll say, no, my problem is elsewhere, and that they are shocked by how much that reduces the tension that they are feeling.
Nobody
in their lower
would
back.
think that doing that with your feet would reduce overall tension in other parts of your body.
Our bodies are amazing, and
everything's connected.
We're all connected. That's right.
Everything is connected is right. It's amazing getting up. Some people get up with a stiff back in the morning. Really, just going out, rolling out your feet. Pressing down on the ball to really lengthen that tendon in there. It really will make a big difference. And I'm one that had a life of leaning over for the most part, and now at 61, I'm feeling it, but doing this simple technique, and it's not something that takes a long time. So that's one thing that listeners need to understand, is that these techniques, the breathing, rolling out the feet, you can just a couple minutes and have a completely different outlook on the day.
And caregivers owe that to themselves. They owe 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there, and it's important for them to claim that and take that back, because they have to be healthy for themselves.
We all know that caregivers tend to put the needs and concerns and overall welfare of their loved one ahead of themselves. I've done it myself. Last year was a tough year for me, physically and emotionally, in the care of my parents, and it took a toll. And so if you're hearing anything today, caregivers, please, Belinda just made it easy. 5 minutes here and there. We can all do that during the course of our day and of our evening when our loved one is doing something else or sleeping. Grab that time for yourself and try some of these techniques that she's talking about. I'm rubbing my feet on the bottom of a tennis ball right now, and it feels good.
It does.
It does feel good.
You'll even find yourself having more breath after you do that. So it all connects together. Yep. And those are the most important things for us to think about.
It is all connected. It reminds me of that old song we sang when we were kids, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And another thing, if you think about it, our whole body is completely connected. If you were to lift, if you had a sweater, if you envisioned a sweater and you lifted one part, it's going to impact something else. So sometimes we feel the tension someplace else. So recognize that we are all one big net.
I understand that. It's making sense to me. You are listening today to Toula's Tips for Caregivers on 94.1 The Answer. We've got some great other ideas, too, that we're going to go into to help relieve the physical stresses and emotional stresses. They're all connected, as Belinda said, of caregiving. Tune in today, stay with us, and call in when we come back. We'll be right back.
Hugh Hewitt, Laura Ingram, Dennis Prager, The Savage Nation, Mark Levin, WBOB 94.1 and AM 600. The Answer.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. President Obama says Parkinson's disease may have ravaged Muhammad Ali's body, but in his words, couldn't take the spark from his eyes. The president says even as Ali's physical powers were in decline, he became an even more powerful force for peace and reconciliation around the world. The boxing legend died last night at age 74. Houston police now say they have charged a 27-year-old Houston man with murder in the stabbing death of an 11-year-old who was walking home from school last month. Houston's mayor says the acting police and Harris County District Attorney held a news conference this morning to discuss the arrest of Andre Timothy Jackson. He was charged yesterday and is being held in the Harris County Jail on $100,000 bond. Prosecutors have charged a man with kidnapping in the case of a 13-year-old Detroit boy who was found dead in a vacant lot this week. More details at srnnews.com.
Has your health insurance changed, or is it about to change? Are you or did you move to a different state, change jobs, get a divorce, get married, or have a baby? Then you know what? You may qualify for a special health insurance enrollment period for the affordable Obamacare plans. And to find the right plan, you can get free help right now from Health Markets. They'll help you choose the right plan from over 140 different companies, plus help you maximize your Obamacare free government subsidies. Why pay a penny more than you have to for health insurance? Call anytime, day or night, to learn more about the special enrollment period to qualify for Obamacare. Here's our number. 800-614-1242. 800-614-1242. 800-614-1242. 800-614-1242. Not available in all states.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-297-1665. That's 1-800-297-1665. 1-800-297-1665. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop. You save. Get full details in the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Hi, it's Hugh Hewitt. Share your ride to work with me weekday morning for interesting conversational talk here on WBOB 94.1 and AM 600, The Answer. We'll discuss topics spanning all the forums, plus take your calls, interview some of the biggest movers and shakers in the world of politics, the news you must have, the analysis you need, entertainment, and more. You can't be informed if you don't participate. That's the Hugh Hewitt Show, weekday mornings from 6 to 9 on WBOB 94.1 and AM 600, The Answer.
How long will it take to get where you're going? WBOB 94.1 has The Answer.
There's crash at I-10 eastbound over there at Lenox Avenue. Watch out for that one. Right shoulder is blocked. Looking for rain for the next about 3-4 days. 30% chance of showers today, up to 60% chance for Sunday, 80 for Monday. Daytime highs around 90, overnight lows about 75 degrees. Partly cloudy, 85 at WBOB 94.1, The Answer.
And now let's return to Toula's Tips for Caregivers, brought to you in part by Agewell Institute at Baptist Health, by Elmcroft Assisted Living and Memory Care, by Apex Home Health Care, by the AARP, and by Bartram Lakes Brooks Assisted Living. Once again, here's Toula.
Welcome back, everyone. If you've just tuned in, my guests today are Belinda Casper, and Curt Coenen. We are talking about stress. Caregivers know it well, and ways to alleviate it. We're talking a little bit about therapeutic yoga and the young essential oils. Something is bothering me right now, so I'm going to take this call from Dabney. Dabney, welcome to Toula's Tips for Caregivers.
Hi, Toula. It's good to talk to you.
Great to talk to you, too. Excuse my coughing today. How can we help you today?
Well, I was at the Caregiver Coalition, and I can't thank you and all the sponsors enough for putting that on every year. It's so helpful. And I actually had a nice conversation with Curt at the diffusing oils, the young, what's it called? Young Living.
Yeah, Young Living.
Yeah. And that was really helpful, but I just had a couple more questions about diffusing oils. One is how many square feet approximately does the oils affect? Like, how close does the diffuser need to be to you? And also the other one is if you're changing from one oil to the other, like during the day you want to do one for like peppermint or something to be alert, and then in the evening you want to do lavender or something to relax. So do you have to clean out the diffuser in between, or what's the process to do that?
Good questions.
Yeah, very good questions. Thank you, Dabney, and appreciate your call. And to answer the square footage or cubic footage question, it kind of depends on the diffuser itself. There are a variety of different size diffusers. Typically, a small diffuser will handle a room, say 15 by 20. You get into some of the larger diffusers, and where you're placing them, of course, with the air conditioning and stuff, if you're putting it near a vent, an intake vent, it'll, of course, disperse over a larger area. Now, pure therapeutic oils, of course, will have, they're so small that they disperse into the air very easily. In contrast, olive oil, which is not a therapeutic oil, it's what we call a carrier oil. You really don't smell olive oil when you open the bottle, but pure therapeutic oils, somebody can be across the room, open a bottle of oil, and within a minute or so, you can smell it throughout the room. And to answer the question on changing oils, it'd be good to just change the water out in the diffuser, and keep in mind it's you're not heating the oils, so it's that you'll lose the therapeutic effect of the oils. So, you can change out the water, just wipe them out. You don't have to go into any kind of scrubbing them down or anything like that, because, of course, the benefits of the oils are what you're going for. Mm-hmm. So I hope that kind of answers your questions.
It does very much. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Anything else, Dabney?
All right.
I think that's it. I'm looking forward to using it. Oh, the other thing about the essential oils is sort of like a stealth aspect to it. Like the people don't need to know that they're breathing them for the effect to happen. It's not like it's a conscious choice. Oh, I smell lavender, I'm going to relax. It's sort of like it happens anyway. It's in the air, and it just kind of, like you were talking about, it bypasses your thinking and goes straight to the limbic system.
Exactly. And things that think of it, from the standpoint of when you go to the mall and you walk into a department store. What department do they have you walk through? The perfume department, because the perfume, the fragrance will, typically lift your mood and give you, that feeling that you want to do things and that you like the place and, that you want to shop there. So in that respect, the essential oils work very much the same way. And we got to look at it from the standpoint that oils come to us in a variety of different avenues. One that I like to look at is the fact that citrus oils. Citrus comes in season in the wintertime. The middle of the winter, we have fresh citrus. And why is that? Well, God had a plan, obviously, because in the middle of the winter is the shortest day, longest night, dreariest time of the year, typically. And citrus is very uplifting, helps the your mood, supports a positive outlook. So it's good to diffuse different citrus. Lemon, lime, orange is one of my favorites, and even use it topically.
That is so cool. Good.
I know that whenever you like peel an orange in that oil, you do feel better right away when you smell that.
Yeah, exactly. And citrus oils, keep in mind, do not come from the fruit of its of the.
The fruit
it comes from the rind. It's pressed from the rind, because if you like cooking, of course the zest of a lemon or orange or something is the most pungent, for cooking purposes. And one thing that a lot of people are not aware of, it's new to our lineup of oils, is that Young Living is the only company that has a line of dietary oils that are approved for dietary use. We use them with cooking. Oranges, again, like I said, one of my favorites. I steam some carrots, put a teaspoon of honey and a couple drops of orange oil on it, and it's like candy.
It's one of my favorites.
No, opening up our appetites here. I love that citrus is mood elevating and helps. It's one of my favorite things. I mean, I have citrus with me all the time. There's always lemon in my water that I carry with me all the time. I constantly I eat a couple of oranges a day, and then I keep the rinds around just for the scent. Isn't that funny we're talking about this?
So what's also funny is that before we started the program, you said you never get a cold, you never get sick. Now we know why. You are having the immune boosting, and you're uplifting with all the citrus. And sometimes we do things because we're drawn to it, and we don't always know why. But clearly you're doing a lot of really good habits.
Because I really like it. I just like oranges and lemons. So my husband said to me today before I came to the show, what do I need to pick up at the grocery store? I'm out of lemons, and I'm just about out of oranges. That's all I could think of, because they're my favorites. So we're going to talk about some essential oils here to impact that even more. Dabney, I appreciate you calling in today. If you haven't already, give your info to the producers, because Curt and Belinda are happy to mail you a bottle of the Stress Away oil.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we appreciate
that.
Oh, well, I'm sure we were sharing a lot down at the expo, and we appreciate you coming out and supporting the expo. There's a lot of great vendors that were there. So in the future, anybody hears about the expo, is caring for anyone in any capacity, please support them and come down and work with the vendors.
Yeah, and thank you for your kind comments, Dabney, about the expo. It is our signature event, the Caregiver Coalition's big signature event every year to try and take care of caregivers. And I hope you felt cared for that day.
Oh, absolutely. I had a hand massage. It was fantastic. And last year I got a foot massage. That was even better.
Well,
I'll find some old tennis balls.
I'm sitting here still rubbing my feet on the tennis ball she gave me about 10 minutes ago. It's not going anywhere.
It is life-changing, believe me, just a simple tennis ball.
That's great.
I'm going to quit throwing it for my dog to fetch and roll it under my feet.
Well, your dog, you will have to fight your dog for it. That's the only problem.
That is the truth. That is her favorite toy. Dabney, thank you, and I wish you blessings and whoever you're taking care of.
Thank you. A shout out to Mom and Dad. That's who I take care of.
Well,
God bless you too.
God bless you. I know it because I do the same. So blessings to you, my dear. This has been a fun show, and we've still got a good 20 minutes or so to go, and we're talking about ways to take care of caregivers. We've talked a lot about the essential oils. We've stressed on a couple of them, but I didn't like using the word stress just then.
Stress away is a good one.
Stress away, yeah. I'm going to check into that myself. Let's talk about the combination of yoga and stress, because you are a certified yoga instructor, and I know that it's got positive benefits.
It really does. And so yoga means to unite. It's uniting ourselves back to our bodies. And so a part of yoga is tuning back into our bodies, and we can talk more about that when we come back, and how to make sure that we bend safely so that we maintain the strength of our lower back, as well as to maintain that integrity that we need in our spine.
So important if you're taking care of a loved one. Back injuries and shoulder injuries are the two most common injuries caregivers experience, and we don't want that to happen to you. So stay tuned. You're listening to Toula's Tips for Caregivers on FM 94.1. The Answer. We'll be right back. Hi, this is Toula with Toula's Tips for Caregivers, and I'm here today to personally endorse Apex Home Healthcare Services. They've been caring for my own parents for about 3 months, so yes, this is a personal endorsement. Did you know that they have a behavioral health program? If your loved one has any form of dementia, like Alzheimer's, they can send their behavioral health nurse to come and help you cope. They can help with communication skills. They can help manage the medication. They can help with diet, all kinds of coping skills. I didn't know this myself, but Medicare does cover the cost of a behavioral health nurse to come out and help you care for your loved one with any form of dementia. When you've got this nurse coming, you also qualify for a certified nursing assistant to come and help bathe, dress, and attend to the other activities of daily living for your loved one. If you're not using Apex Home Healthcare yet, you need to be. Please tune into my show and learn more about Apex Home Care or call them at 904-425-4202.
Have you read the new book, Love Stories and Timeless Tips yet? It's by our own Toula Wooten with Toula's Tips for Caregivers. Toula is a caregiver too, as well as an expert on caregiving. You can get it in paperback or on Kindle at Amazon.com. The book is filled with touching stories of caregivers taking care of their loved ones. Each chapter has helpful ideas that we all can use. I love that Toula included a Toula's tip with each story. Her message to caregivers is clear. Take care of yourself so that you can take care of your loved one. This is a beautiful book for all caregivers to read, whether you're a part-time, full-time, or long-distance caregiver, or someone receiving care. You should get the book today. Just go to Amazon.com. Search for Love Stories and Timeless Tips by Toula Wooten.
George, I got the job. Thanks, I'm so excited. They hired me on the spot right after the interview. It was that book I bought from Amazon, From the Interview to the Paycheck by Fred Haley. The book really taught me something. It helped me to think about what the boss wants. Then it helped me with answers that show that I can do the job. I can tell they were impressed when I introduced myself. I just followed the simple outline from the Interview to the Paycheck book, and I know I won the job with my first 90 days plan the book recommended. They said no one else had ever been so prepared. You should get the book. It's on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle. It's worth it if you want to get hired. Just search for From the Interview to the Paycheck by Fred Haley. Do it now.
Hi, everyone. This is Toula again, and I'm here to tell you about the Agewell Institute at Baptist Health. They're located in the San Marco area. I've been taking my own parents there for about 2 years now. Dr. Lance, the geriatrician on staff, has done remarkable things for both my parents and for me, the caregiver. They have great information, advice, and resources to help me. Dr. Lance and her team of social workers, dietitians, nurses, therapists, and the pharmacist have been so instrumental in helping me keep my own parents independent and living in their own home where they want to be. If you're looking for someone to either supplement the care that your primary physician is giving to your loved one who's 65 or older, or to perhaps become their primary care physician, I really encourage you to call the Agewell Institute at Baptist. Their number is 904-202-4243. Again, that's 904-202-4243.
And now let's return to Toula's Tips for Caregivers, brought to you in part by Agewell Institute at Baptist Health, by Elmcroft Assisted Living and Memory Care, by Apex Home Healthcare, by the AARP, and by Bartram Lakes Brooks Assisted Living. Once again, here's Toula.
Welcome back, everyone. Again, the show is going by way too fast. I have Belinda, Casper, and Curt Coenen here with me, and we're talking about ways to alleviate stress, physical stress, and emotional stress. You know, they're all tied together of being a caregiver, and we've learned a lot. I've learned a lot today about some of their Young Living essential oils. They actually just rub my neck with some of their Panaway, and it's starting to relieve some of the tension that I carry in the left side of my neck. But right now, we're going to focus a little bit for the last segment of this show on back and neck pain relief. Help us, Linda, I'm sorry. There are so many caregivers out there, as we were just saying, who inappropriately lift and transfer and get up and down out of chairs, as you were just saying, and cause additional stress on our bodies.
Yes, absolutely. Most of us put that stress and tension in our neck and shoulders. And how many of us have lower back pain? I have to tell you, I was introduced to therapeutic yoga by my wonderful teacher, Lisa Long, who I was bent over coming to her, and she really helped me. So that's really what got me started.
Wow.
So one of the things that is important for us to think about, and I know I keep going back to that chair alignment and sitting in the chair, but when you're getting out of the chair, it's best for you to have your hands on your quads and push your legs to, if you're having trouble standing, or just push your feet into the ground to stand. So often we lift ourselves up by our shoulders, and we're creating that stress and strain in our neck and shoulders. So if we think about pushing the earth away instead of lifting ourselves up, that's one of the important things to think about. It's also important for caregivers and everybody to think about how you should bend and how in lifting or picking up anything. So we tend to put a lot of people have issues with their L4, L5 because they're bending at their backs instead of bending at their hip joints. So when we had talked about this in our first segment and how to align, and you're rocking your pelvis back and forth, and if you think about where that crease is, where your legs meet your pelvic floor, your pelvis, and you think about that hip joint right there, that's where you bend. So it's important when you're picking anything up that you're bending there. That's where you have all your bend. It's not in the lower back. You're keeping your spine as if you have a long rod that is keeping your tail all the way through your crown. It is one long rod.
Straight.
That doesn't bend at all. All of your bend is at your hip. It's also a good fundamental rule to make sure your knee follows your second toe. So in anything that you're sitting and you're standing up from a chair, I know we're not really doing yoga poses here. It's kind of hard to do on the radio. But if you are doing any type of yoga, it's important that in all poses, and you even in just walking, that your knee is following your second toe. That takes the stress away from your knee, that sometimes people have knee issues as well. But it's also that safe bending. So one of the things, I teach a gentle yoga class, and one of my favorite things that a student said to me was she was so thrilled that now she is able to get up and down from the floor and play with her grandchildren.
Oh.
And that was something she wasn't able to do.
That's quality of life for her.
It is a quality of life.
Yeah.
And so learning how to bend safely, how to make sure you're moving safely. And sometimes it's just that awareness that we're doing things. I catch myself, I know better, but I catch myself doing things that I know I shouldn't be doing. So sometimes just knowing, becoming aware and focusing, it is really helpful. The other thing I want to talk about is that neck and stress that we put on our necks when we're texting or we're reading iPads or we're looking down at something and we're looking down at a computer. The angle of the neck. So if we think about that, our head is the weight of a bowling ball. So remember when you pick up a bowling ball, how heavy that is. You know, that's 12 pounds, 9 to 12 pounds. And just think about when we keep making our head go forward, we're creating that strain that becomes, I never say permanent damage for anything because everything can be fixed. But it becomes that strain that we walk around and there's actually something called text neck that a lot of people are referring to because so many of us are looking down and we are creating that strain on our spine. So if we are in alignment, we have no issues. But if we continue to have degrees going forward, so just 13 degrees forward is 27-pound weight on your spine. 30 degree forward is 40 pounds. If we go up to 60 degrees forward, so that's really
leaning forward.
You're leaning forward and you're looking at that iPad on your lap or your phone or whatever you're looking at. That's 60-pound strain
on your neck
and shoulders. So one of the things that you are doing is so many of us, we're finding that strain and we're finding that tension and we're wondering why so much of that is in our neck and shoulders. So part of what we were talking about in the alignment is that long spine that we have. Think about lifting your shoulders and dropping them back and the bottom of your shoulder blades coming down towards your tail. So when you're sitting there and you can roll your shoulders, you have the opportunity to roll them forward, to roll them back. But when you're done, you just bring them up and bring them down and allow that back of your shoulder blades to come down. And your head, again, don't lift your chin up. You're just bringing your head back as if you're pulling your ears back. That really helps you to maintain that alignment. And it feels awkward because that's not the way you walk around.
Right.
But I find myself getting back and back into that more often and quicker, so I no longer have that strain. So that would be one of the techniques that I have. Another thing that will really help you is if you were to just, with your hands, hold on to your shoulders and make big circles. Yeah. So you're just making a big circle, bringing your elbows into the center of you and then all the way out and then going in another direction. That will also relieve some of that stress and tension that you have within your neck and shoulders.
And this just takes a few minutes.
Again, give yourself 5 minutes at different intervals of your day, and it's really a wonderful thing for you to do before you go into bed and when you're waking up, so you remind yourself to get back into that opportunity to relieve some of that tension that you are probably going to bed with after the day that you've had in caring for your loved one, and being able to wake up refreshed.
And we wanted to talk about sleep as well, because that's an important facet of things. A lot of people, one of the worst things to have in the bedroom is a TV, number one. Taking an iPad, a phone or something, and just sitting in bed and doing things like that. You want to get away from that blue light that is stimulating your brain, getting you all worked up in that respect. There are some essential oils that, of course, work with the limbic system and help relax the body and everything. But just stepping away from a phone, a TV for a good 20 minutes or so prior to going to bed is important as well.
And reading a real book that you physically hold in your hand is a really good thing, not something that is on your iPad.
Not on your iPad.
Exactly.
Not a Kindle or something like that. Which they're convenient for traveling and things of that nature. Yeah. But again, these are things that are attacking our body rather than technology is a wonderful thing. I'm not against that at all. But we have to learn to understand what is good for us and what is bad for us.
And learn its place. It's got its place,
Yeah.
and it doesn't belong in the bedroom where you're trying to relax.
That's right.
It's a stressor, because we're so attached all the time to everything.
Right.
That's right.
Actually, I'm unattached today because for some reason my phone did not charge last night, even though I plugged it in. And so it's kind of a nice feeling in a way. Nobody can get me.
See, that's where the stress of your neck is being relieved as well.
It's being relieved. There's so much to learn from all of this, Belinda and Curt. And, I'm going to have you guys back because we barely even.
There's so much more we can share.
I would really love to, because we know that caregivers carry an enormous buttload of stress.
Yes.
During the day, and it's really hard to learn how to alleviate it. It's hard to even think about yourself to alleviate it because you're so busy and your mind and your heart is so focused on your loved one.
And you so often don't think about yourself.
Right. You just don't.
And anyone who is doing this, I have a friend of mine also at River Garden, and it's an act of love that you're caring for somebody, and I visit her, as regularly as I can, and it puts a strain on me, and
Sure.
So
it's hard.
So anybody who is 24/7 in their home, like yourself, taking care of your dad and stuff, God bless you. And so we're happy to help answer any questions. Love to be back and talk about more things.
Well, caregivers do what they do because they love their loved one. That is the motivating factor at all times. I thank you guys both, Belinda and Curt, for being on the show. I've personally learned a lot. I hope you, my listening audience, has. I'm going to have them back. Thank you again.
We'd love to be back. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
I wish all of you a very blessed day today as you go about taking care of your loved one.
Enjoy your weekend.